The key to making a perfect sourdough loaf is your starter. You want to have a bubbly, active starter to make the perfect sourdough bread. So I am not a master at making sourdough loaves. I am still learning. I have made quite a few really good looking ones and super tasty ones, but what got me to that point was the process of learning how to make my starter. There were a few trials and error, but I have mastered making my starter from scratch, and I wanted to share that with you because I know that there are a lot of people who are interested in making sourdough bread, but get tripped up with learning how to make the starter first. So first thing is you're going to get a glass jar. Mine is a 32-ounce mason jar and a lid. And stored just like this on top of your kitchen counter. The warmest place in your kitchen is always my biggest tip. So you'll need your glass jar with a lid. You'll need a cup, a measuring cup. So you'll be using 1 cup of wheat flour or rye flour, whichever one you prefer, and 1 cup of filtered water. You don't want to use faucet water because it will kill out your yeast before it even starts to grow. You want to use a filtered water, more along the lines of room temperature, and then you just add the ingredients right into your mason jar. Is all you need. So 1 cup of wheat or rye flour, 1 cup of filtered water. You mix it into a jar. You give it a good stir. Try to clean down the flour from the jar, like scrape it off the jar, and therefore you can see your starter rise. All you're gonna do is set this in a warm spot in your kitchen. For me, I always set it right here because it's closest to my stove, and rest for 24 hours, and I will repeat the same process in 24 hours, 1 cup to 1 cup water ratio, and then we'll continue with the rest of the process. It is day 3, and look at that. Can you see all those bubbles in there? And it almost popped the top up, but look at how good that looks. So I'm gonna discard half, almost half, and then I'm going to repeat the same process. So I've been repeating the same process for day 1 and 2. I'm gonna do it again for day 3 and 4, and then we're gonna watch how this starter continues to grow. And then on the 5th and 6th day, we're gonna change it up a little bit, but as of right now, we're gonna continue the same process of feed every 24 hours and let sit. We are officially halfway through this week creating our starter. This is day 3, and I'm discarding half of my starter into the smaller mason jar, which I keep in my refrigerator. I do not waste it. I use it and I make delicious pancakes, brownies, cookies, and just keep it there until I'm ready to use. So I'm discarding half of my starter, and I'm going to refeed 1 cup wheat flour, 1 cup filtered water, give it a good stir, and I'm going to let sit in a warm spot in my kitchen for 24 hours. I do this day 1, 2, 3, and 4, and all the bubbles mean that the starter is coming to life. It is very active, but you want to continue this process for the whole week just to make sure that your starter is going to be ready to use and make delicious bread. Officially on day 5 of starting our starter, and you can see all the bubbles. These bubbles are so good. That means your starter is working and it's going to be ready to be used soon. The top hat popped off and you can see all those bubbles. I mean, look at that. So good. So now for the next 2 days, we will discard half and feed every 12 hours instead of 24 hours. So you will feed your starter twice a day. You can set a timer to remind yourself, and you'll do that day 5 and day 6, and it's going to be so good. And day 7, we will be making bread. My starter discard, I've been using this all week to discard from my starter. You can throw it away if you like, or you can put it in a separate jar, and you can use this in so many recipes: cookies, pancakes, waffles, all those things. So what I'm actually going to do is, and you should be using a spoon, but right now it is just so much at the top that I'm going to discard this to my discard. I'm going to discard just a little bit more, and then I'm going to do the same ratio. 1 cup flour, wheat flour I'm using, 1 cup filtered water, and then we're going to let it sit for 12 hours. And look at this beautiful starter. We have discarded and fed for 7 days, and look at this. Look at all those air bubbles. Look at the top popped, ready to make some delicious sourdough bread.